Make time to come at very, very short notice. We also know that today is not a working day, it's a Sunday. So we're really, really grateful that you've made our time to come. I have a few remarks. Oracle has said that as I make these remarks, I'll try to tell you who I am. But the business that brings us here today is urgent. That business is very, very, very important. And that is the business I would like to first of all deal with. Over the last 18 months, I have been burdened and I have developed very, very, very strong passion about the state of our state. And this is something that didn't start in the last 18 months. It's been there for such a long time, but it got a lot much more accentuated in the last 18 months. And on account of it, I have been thinking and I've been saying to myself, what is it that Abia can do differently? And I have gone round to various communities, I've seen many stakeholders, and I've been consulting. And my consultations have been far and they've been wide, and they've cut across many zones, local government areas. I've touched many stakeholders, and the product of the consultations, there is a uniform and a consistent refrain that has become manifest. And that refrain is that Abia requires redemption. Abia requires restoration. And that is something that cuts across. That's the narrative that cuts across everywhere you go. Whether you talk to the businessman in Aba, or you talk to a road user, or you talk to somebody who patronizes our primary health care services, whoever it is that you speak to, whether you speak to a worker whose salary remains unpaid for several months, or you speak to retirees who have been denied their gratuity and their pensions for which they've labored the whole of their lives, there is one common refrain, and that is that things cannot continue the way that they are. Now, that is speaking about people in our state. That is speaking about people like you and I who are from here. But then again, sometimes when you go out and you talk to your friends, and you tell them that you are from Abia, even those who are not from our state, they say to us, you know, your state needs a lot of work. And so I came to the conclusion that regrettably our state has been held up by successive years of maladministration, and a place like Aba, which was a commercial nerve center of what we now know as the Southeast and the South-South, is today a shadow of itself. So today, I'm happy to inform you that after all these consultations, I've enlisted in a movement for a restored, better, and a greater Abia. I enjoin all Abians to arise and join this movement. We must take back Abia. Abia belongs to all of us, and no one person or group of few people should be allowed to arrogate to themselves the right to determine for all of us who our leaders will be. That is something we cannot allow. It is a practice that strikes at the very root and core of who we are as Ndi Igbo, of who we are as Abia. For millennia and centuries, we've always been people who are Republican, we've been Democrats. And so I find that we over the years, there is an unfolding culture of a leadership selection process which occurs by the anointing of the incumbents. This has happened because Abia have allowed it to happen. Let me also say that to some extent, Abia may say that they've tried their best. They may say that sometimes they have tried to exercise their rights to determine for themselves who will govern them, and sometimes their will has not really counted. Their votes have not really counted. It may well be so. So one cannot say that the state of affairs that we find ourselves in is exclusively attributable to Abia. But what I'll also say is that ultimately, power belongs to the people, ultimately. Whenever we get to a point where the people say enough is enough, things are definitely going to change. And so, like I said, today is the day to dream of a new Abia. Today is a day to dream about an effective and efficient primary health care system that cuts across the entire state. Today is a day we can dream about health centers, well-equipped health centers, well-manned health centers in 10 places in every local government area. Today is a day that we can dream about schools that are properly equipped, schools that have proper, teachers, schools that are properly equipped with the right books and the right learning instructions or learning facilities for our children to excel. When you look at WAEC and NECO, you'll find that always our children are at the top of their game. They're either coming first this year or they're coming second. You would hardly ever find any rankings after WAEC or NECO where our children are fifth. They would always either be first or second or third. It shows you how gifted our people are. But then this is happening with the kind of facilities, the kind of educational facilities that we have, that I would say are not even up to average. So you can imagine the kind of heights, you can imagine the kind of achievements, you can imagine the kind of accomplishments our children would have if things are much better. We should be able to dream about an Abia where our mineral resources are harnessed. We have several oil wells in this state, and some of those oil wells are capped, and there hasn't been any serious attempt on the part of our state to harness these resources through a state oil company. And as we know, we are going to have an energy transition. It is projected that by the year 2050, the cost of maintaining a brownfield fossil fuels energy source will be more expensive than building a greenfield renewable energy source. So it's a matter of time. It's a no-brainer. There's going to be an energy transition. And so the resources that we have under the ground today, they can profit our children today if we exploit them quickly. If we do not, after a while, the economics may be such that they will not make any useful impact upon our lives as a state and upon our generations yet unborn. Today we can dream of an Abia that we can set up to be a manufacturing hub. Today we can dream of an Abia where our garment and footwear industry can be a center where the big designers in the world outsource their production to, so that we can earn foreign exchange and we can actually stimulate that local industry, which we know is a very well developed local industry, has very wonderful manpower. Today is the day that we can dream of an Abia where we can hope that the economy of the state can become number one in the country. It's not impossible. We're not going to be reinventing the wheel. Today is a day that we can dream of an Abia where we begin to produce renewable energy things and become the capital of renewable energy in West Africa. Today is the day we can dream of an Abia where we don't have to go cap in hand to FAC to ask for allocations. Today, Abia is a revenue sharing state. We want to be a wealth creating state in Abia. So we can dream of that new Abia. And I'd like to say to you that I have thought deeply about these things. I have studied the economies of several nations. I've studied the economies of nations that were underdeveloped nations and today have leapfrogged into first world nations. And some of these nations, the kind of transformation which has occurred, for some of them it started as recently as 1949. For some of them it started as recently as about 50 years ago. For some of them it started as recently as about 20, 30 years ago. We all know about Rwanda. We know about the success story of Rwanda, a country that was embroiled in the kind of strife and genocide that we all witnessed. But if you go to Rwanda today, Rwanda is one of the fastest developing African countries. So there's a lot that can happen in any society, in any community, where the people with a genuine heart determine that they want to change the course of things. This is the message that I have, and I believe you, I speak from my heart. I believe in the state. I believe in the people. I believe in our industry. I believe in the sheer entrepreneurial power that we see everywhere we go in the state. We see it in Abia, we see it in Umuahia, we see it in every part of the state. Our people are hardworking people. And I just believe that what we require is that enabling environment that enables us to thrive, the enabling environment that enables us to flourish as a state. And I believe that it is doable. And so after all the consultations I've made, I've determined that I would run for the position of the governor of this state. In the course of my sojourn, I had been in another political party, and I was in that political party for some time. I was in that political party for a while. But after a while, when I saw the way things were going on with the imposition of candidates, the imposition of party structure, and so on and so forth, I said to myself, there is an objective that I have. There's something that I would like to achieve. And I felt that I couldn't reconcile myself to remaining in that party for the purpose that I want to achieve in this state. So I decided to leave that party, and today I am in the All Progressives Grand Alliance, where I have picked up my form to run the primaries for the position of the governor of the state. I would put all that I have into it. It started as some kind of a desire. The desire metamorphosed into a passion. Today it's a consuming passion. As I walk on the streets, I think about it. As I go to bed, I think about it. When I wake up in the morning, I think about it. It is an all-consuming passion. There are many things I've been doing that I have let go for the purpose of pursuing this aspiration. And it's not an aspiration that I am pursuing because of anything I'm looking to have, whether it's in terms of fame or anything. But it is because I feel that society only progresses when people decide that they are going to commit all that they have to ensure that their tomorrow is better than their today. So that is what I wanted to share with you, my brethren. I felt that this was the right place to have this initial interaction, because this is where I am from, this is my state, and I felt that if I shared this with my brethren, first and foremost, then my brethren can help me transmit the message. I'm happy being in Abga. Abga resonates with, our vision as a state, our vision as Ndibo, and I believe that together we will be able to replicate what we see happening in a state like Anambra, and even do a lot much better than they're doing in that state. I had said to you that Oracle had said that I was going to introduce myself when I begin to speak, and I said to you, let us first of all deal with the urgent business of the time. Now that we have dealt with that business, I've told you the aspirations that I have, the desire that I have for us to work together to take our state to the next level. I'd like to introduce myself to you. My name is Etigwe Uwa. I'm a senior advocate of Nigeria. I'm also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, the UK branch. I'm from this state. I'm from the Ohafia local government area in the Abia North Senatorial Zone. I'm a legal practitioner, and I've been a legal practitioner for over 3 decades. Of that time, I've been a senior advocate in Nigeria for about 13 years. I attended secondary school, primary school, higher school, university, all in Lagos. I went to the famous King's College, Lagos, and I went to the University of Lagos. I have a degree in International Relations and Finance from the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy of Tufts University in Boston. I'm currently pursuing a second master's degree in taxation at the University of Oxford. I chair the board of directors of Lumos Nigeria. Lumos Nigeria is the largest supplier of solar power in Nigeria today. We supply solar power to rural areas using solar panels and an indoor unit for as little as sometimes 300, 400, 500 naira, 1,000 naira per day. You can get clean power that is clean, and it helps in poverty alleviation and financial inclusiveness. I also chair the board of Maraphones. Maraphones is an African company that pioneered the production of smartphones. If you see their phones, they will compare almost like the iPhone or the Samsung. We have a factory in Rwanda. We have a factory in South Africa. I'm not part of the Rwandan and South African business. I'm part of Marathon Nigeria Limited. We're in the process of establishing a factory in Nigeria to employ people. I chaired the board of Trustboard Mortgage Bank for about 6 years, and we grew it to the point where it became the largest mortgage bank in Nigeria. I also pioneered, together with some people, opinion polling in Nigeria. I'm the chairman of NY Polls Limited, and for those of you who know about opinion polling, we have been polling all the elections since 2007. We set up the company in partnership with Gallup Polls of the US. I wrote the civil aviation law for Nigeria, and I was responsible for the domestication of the Cape Town Convention, which has made it easy for Nigerian airlines to buy brand new aircrafts using the aircraft equipment itself as security. Many more things I've done. I have been fighting for the masses. I was the one that led a team of lawyers who fought Pfizer when Pfizer came to Nigeria in 1996, and used some of our children in Kano as guinea pigs for a drug experiment. I started that case in Kano. I fought it for several years in Kano. When I wasn't making much progress, we discontinued in Kano. We filed the cases in Connecticut and in New York. We fought that case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. At the U.S. Supreme Court ordered Obama's administration to write a brief to state the position of the U.S. government, and they wrote a brief in support of us. We won at the U.S. Supreme Court, and shortly after that there was a settlement. That settlement led to the building of a $30 million diagnostic hospital in Kano by Pfizer, and the payment of compensation to all those children. I fought that case for 16 years. I wasn't paid one penny. I spent all the monies I did on the expenses, flying from here to New York to Connecticut and so on and so forth for 16 years. But the good thing is that we got compensation for our people, and we put our people on the map so that people do not think that this is a place they can just come and do anything like cowboys and get away without any repercussions. In the year 2007, I also led a class action against a first generation bank which collected money from people in the form of an IPO, kept people's monies for over 9 months, and then returned 70% of the money without paying adequate interest. I was the one who pioneered that, and eventually when I did that case and we won, people began to finish their IPOs in 1 month, in 2 months. So I have always been somebody who believes that you can use the law as an instrument for social re-engineering. You can begin to regulate the conduct of people by the kind of laws that you pass or by the kind of cases that you do in court. So I want to tell India Bear that I am somebody who loves people. I love people because, growing up, I grew up as an only child of both parents. I don't know what it means to have a brother. I don't know what it means to have a sister, whether half or full. And so I grew up feeling a sense of loneliness. I grew up feeling a sense of deprivation, that I didn't have any filial relationship around myself. And so what that then did was that I began in my later years to crave for fellowship, to crave to love people, to be somebody who would like to relate with people. And because of that, I have decided that whatever I can do to assist my fellow human beings, whichever way I can use the talents that God has given me to advance the cause of humanity, that is what I would like to do. We haven't met for some of you here. I've met you, I know you, but for most, I do not know. I believe that we've started a journey of interaction. I hope to know as many of you as is possible. But I'd like to leave one message with you. And that is this. If you look at our revenue profile and you compare it to Ebonyi, we're an oil producing state. We earn slightly more than Ebonyi. Do a comparison of this state and Ebonyi state. Check what's going on in our neighboring states. Some time ago, a former Attorney General of the state wrote a letter and he complained about the humongous amounts of money that was being withdrawn from the state coffers as security votes. I read the reactions. The reactions were that, is disgruntled. He gave out the contract for the building of a court, the ceiling of which has collapsed. He didn't hear anyone say it's not correct that so and so amounts are withdrawn on a monthly basis in a place where some doctors are not earning their salaries. If this state of affairs continue, it's an indictment, not so much on the perpetrators, it is an indictment on those of us who are passive, on those of us who have allowed this state of affairs to continue. The Lord bless you. The Lord bless Abia State. I dream of a great exodus. Exodus from the point of poverty. Exodus from the point of maladministration into a promised land where Abia will flourish, where Abia will be restored, where there will be a greater Abia of our dreams. Thank you so